This week on WestfordCAT News, as a result of COVID-19, the school calendar is changing and so are the budgets for the school and the town.
The governor's budget is what we're projecting for next year. But basically, we are seeing some deficits in FY20 for like veterans and blinds exemptions and charter school assessment.
The Board of Health is keeping watch on the town's parks and beaches to make sure large groups aren't gathering. Dottie, an affectionate 11-year-old cat, still needs a home. Stay tuned. WestfordCAT News is next. The school calendar will be amended to cancel this year's April vacation in light of the many days students have not had interpersonal instruction in a classroom. With a unanimous vote taken by the school committee on April 6th, Superintendent Bill Olson decreed April 21st through April 24th as school days. Monday, April 20th is Patriots' Day, so there will be no school. Here's Olson.
And I'm going to recommend to you that you amend this current school year's calendar to continue instruction through the April school vacation. Now, we understand that some staff, some parents and families may have some travel plans that they will somehow continue with, but I think it's important. By doing that also, we would be able to take 4 days from that week. And if you combine the 4 days during the April vacation, what is anticipated to be the April vacation week, with May 5th, which would ordinarily have been the election day, that would take 5 days off the 185th day of the year that the commissioner has specified and move our ending date from June 23rd to June 16th. Now, primary reason for the recommendation is to maintain momentum, but also this, as we've always known, at this time of year, the learning time and focus is much more significant than it is at any time after June 1st and beyond. So that's my recommendation to you, since the school committee in every community is responsible for approving and then amending a calendar. I'm going to ask that you do an amendment to the calendar to have instruction continue through the April school vacation week.
To watch the entire school committee meeting on demand, visit westfordcat.org. It looks like some local restaurants are locking their doors for the duration of this pandemic. According to Ray Dick, Director of Environmental Services for the Health Department, both Karma and Subway in the Westford Valley Marketplace have stopped serving food as of April 7th, including takeout. Although you can't see her on camera, here is Dick describing her watchdog activities around town and those of Health Department Food Inspector Arnie Price.
So just a general question, how are things going with the restaurants in town in terms of how they're handling customer orders?
So we have 45 establishments as of today that are closed. And we're actually, Arnie and I were speaking this afternoon about putting together, we're already working on our checklist we have to go in and do an inspection for every single one of these establishments to have them reopen. So we're making sure that we're working on that now. We're putting together a checklist for all the inspectors so when we go in to make sure they can reopen. Arnie's constantly sending them information and talking to different establishments to make sure that there's no congregation of anyone that's coming to pick up, whether they're doing, some places are doing curbside, some you actually have to go in and pick up. Most places you pay right online. You can go in and pick up your to-go and they bring that out to you.
So Ray, the 45 establishments that are closed, they did that on their own, the food establishments?
They did. So that includes the schools.
Oh,
So
okay.
places like Karma closed today, Subway closed today.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. And some for their own reasons, they put up, that they're they're taking a pause. We've asked that they all notify us when they want to close and when they'd like to reopen. And again, just trying to prepare for that, just because it's a lot of places to open all at one time.
So Ray, they're fully closed. They're not doing takeout. They're just done.
No, these are places that are fully closed. So they have signage up. We are doing drive arounds to see how it's going at beaches, the parks, restaurants. Like I said, we've just had a couple of handful of places that were open and are considered non-essential. So we're, dealing with that as that comes up.
To watch the entire Board of Health meeting on demand, visit WestfordCAT.org. The Select Board met virtually on April 7th with members of the Finance Committee and School Committee to discuss how to fund school and government activities in the wake of COVID-19. Here's Finance Director Dan O'Donnell.
First major source of revenue is our taxes. Taxes are still due. They're going to be collected at some point, so the forecast here is still strong. I did speak with Henry Fontaine, our building commissioner, last week, and the major projects are still going forward. So that's great news. We should be near or close to our new growth number towards the end of the year. Next section is state aid. We don't have much control over state aid. The governor's budget is what we're projecting for next year. But basically, we are seeing some deficits in FY20 for like veterans and blinds exemptions and charter school assessment. There's not much we can do about that, but it does impact our free cash total at the end of the year. So we did get a lot of questions ahead of the meeting. Why aren't the projections for state aid lower? It's because we don't have any say over that at this point. So that the state just tells us what to do. So local revenue is where we're seeing most of the impacts for us. We had certain projections that we had ready for our town meeting before all this occurred. And we made some adjustments to those projections just based on the current status of things. So, just a couple examples from motor vehicle excise. We have seen a decrease in car sales around, so we're not expecting to hit that 3.85 million target for next year. So we made a slight adjustment down for that. Like the hotel and motel excise and the meals excise are the ones that are really taking the biggest hit here. We have gotten our first 3 payments in from the state. We'll get our last one on June 30th. We looked back at the historical data and we projected that we'd bring in about 25% of what we got in past years for this last quarter. So that will have a material impact on next year's budget and our free cash calculation for this year.
To watch the entire meeting on demand, visit WestfordCAT.org. And to see O'Donnell's budget documents, visit WestfordCatNews.org. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching Westford Cat News.
Here's a cat we featured back in January who was still looking for a family to call her own. Sweet and shy 11-year-old Dottie was surrendered to the shelter in November and would do best in a nice, quiet home. Here's the Lowell Humane Society's Erin Milligan with more.
So this is Dottie. She is an 11-year-old spayed female. She is a voluptuous beauty. She is white and black, domestic short hair. She came to the shelter because the owners couldn't take on her medical needs. She is living in one of our office spaces, so she has room to stretch her legs and explore around, which she does enjoy doing, and she is pretty mobile. She has asthma, so because of that, she is on medication every other day for it, and she does need to lose some weight as well. We have her on her own special weight loss plan to help slim her down. So because of that, we are looking for a family who has a good relationship with their vet, who is willing to continue giving her the medical care she needs. The family who previously had her said she really did love the women in the home. She also likes to cuddle and get attention, be pet. She definitely is playful at times. She loves her ball toys, her wand toys. She likes to sit next to you. She does ask that you do not touch her stomach though. She is a bit touchy about that spot. Cats, she may or may not do well with. It just depends on slow introductions. She did used to live with a cat at one time, but they would have their spats with each other, and they got to a point where they just didn't really like each other anymore. So I think it's really going to depend on her and the other cat if they decide to like each other. She does like to come up and greet visitors. She really loves to be your household greeter. She is an indoor-only cat. She has no interest in going outside. The family who originally had her owned her for 10 years before she came here. They said she does like to sleep on the pillow. She enjoys her catnip. Definitely an outgoing girl. She says no thank you to the vacuum cleaner. When you're in the mood to vacuum, she prefers to hang out under the bed. It's her safety zone.
If you think you'd like to give Dottie her forever home, call the Lowell Humane Society to set up an appointment to meet her. Due to the COVID-19 shutdown, the shelter is not open to the public, but they are accepting donations. Call 978-452-7781 or visit them at lowellhumanesociety.org. You can also find them on Facebook. I'm Patty Stalker, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.